Another day, another box score watching episode. We're at episode 45, this time I got it right. And we had a cool Sunday slate, a really good game early on, some blowouts, some good games, as always. It was a mixed bag a little bit, but we're here to talk about it. If you enjoy talking about basketball, leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Let me know your thoughts. And let's jump right into it with the Pelicans winning at home against the Nuggets without Brandon Ingram. And what a game for Grand Theft Alvarado, man. 27 minutes, 38 points, 8 of 11 on threes. He couldn't miss in the first half, and he was sensational. He was just absolutely sensational. And you gotta give the Pelicans a lot of credit as they've been dealing with some injuries. CJ McCollum has not been as great as you would like him to be, but the bench has been incredible. Willy Hernan Gomez, shout out to him also today. He had 12 and 8 in his 20 minutes. Zion has been special. He's been so good. 25, 6, and 4. And I just love to watch Zion. I'm a huge fan. And every time I watch or hear from Zion, I just enjoy the guy even more. And, they didn't get that much from anybody else. Trey Murphy had those 2 incredible dunks in the third quarter. But it was a back and forth game, and then the Pelicans just put on a show ended at the end of the third quarter and just ran away with it in the fourth quarter. And we have to talk about also the Nuggets' effort and their effort problems. And Coach Mike Malone talked about it, that they can't string together 48 minutes of good effort, and that's a problem, right? Obviously, they're still missing Michael Porter Jr. Jamal Murray didn't have his best game. I saw a lot of people slacking him on Twitter, and well, he had just 2 of his better games, and yeah, bad games will happen to everyone. So I'm gonna cut him a slack. He was not great, but he still had 18 points. KCP couldn't hit the ocean. Jokic was unstoppable, 32, 16, and 9, but well, nobody else did that much, so they could double him and they could bother him a lot more, but he was special. They didn't have anyone to stop him, and it's a damn shame he didn't get like a 50 piece. Aaron Gordon had 19 and 8. He was helping a little bit, and Bruce Brown 13, 6, and 3. He was okay, but he had 4 turnovers and didn't do that much, and the bench. DeAndre Jordan was minus 19, but he didn't feel like he was that bad, but I guess, they were that bad with him on the court. And yeah, Bones Island was unplayable against this Pelicans team, and that's a problem. They didn't have anyone impactful off the bench, essentially, with Vlatko Čančar not playing to his, standard over the last couple of weeks that he's been sensational off the bench. He was not good today, and well, essentially no one was. I guess shout out Ish Smith, but he had 4 turnovers also, which in 18 minutes is just way too much for a bench, impact player. Then we move on to Wembanyama, which in San Antonio, as they keep playing perfectly. The Suns blow them out. And with the Suns, we all know the deal. DeAndre Ayton, sensational game today, 25 minutes, 25 and 10. D-Book had 20 in his 27 minutes, 8 assists also. Well, the whole starting lineup was sensational. Dario Saric had 17 points. Mikal Bridges had 20 points. The bench was solid. Josh Okogie was plus 31 in his 26th minute. And yeah, well, the Spurs are tanking. We all know that. Shout out to Keldon Johnson. He finally didn't shoot as poor as he has been shooting. Still not great, but hey, some improvements, right? He had 27 after a really, really rough stretch. And yeah, not much more to say here. They are waiting for Wembanyama or Scoot, right? Then we head to Brooklyn as the Celtics win in Brooklyn again. After, last year the first round playoff series was special in a lot of ways, and they still got their number. And shout out Jason Tatum, he was sensational. Shout out Jason Tatum, he was sensational in that fourth quarter. He had 29 and 11 on the night, 9 turnovers. He was not that special until that fourth quarter, but in the fourth quarter he paid up for the turnovers. Jaylen Brown continues to shine, 34 and 10, 4 blocks, 2 steals, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, 10 of 12, 12 of 20 from the field. Shout out to Jaylen Brown, 2 back-to-back sensational games from him. And yeah, this was a rough one, as not a lot of free throws. Well, as it was a really good defensive game from both sides actually, and I did not see this coming, and it was fun. Malcolm Brogdon off the bench at 13, 8 and 8, sensational. Shout out to him. And the Celtics just got their number, man. They just know how to play play these Nets. KD was much better, 31, 7, and 5, but still 8 turnovers and all forced by the defense especially. And he still can't figure out these double teams and these, Celtics defenses that were thrown at him. Royce O'Neal couldn't throw it into the ocean. That didn't help, of course. Joe Harris was solid in his minutes, but he's picked on defensively every time he plays against, a good offensive team. Kyrie had 18, 8, and 5. 7 of 21. He was not good today. And yeah, well, no one else played that much, right? You see that they were still missing Ben Simmons, of course, which could change something, but he should be back this week, right? And yeah, a rough loss for him. We move on to Motor City, Detroit, as the Pistons lose against the Grizzlies. And it feels like actually after a long time, Ja has had a spectacular game. He was 33, 5, and 10 with just 4 turnovers, 12 of 23 from the field in 35 minutes. One hell of a game from Ja. You needed it. And, well, everyone else in the starting lineup played pretty well. You get 22 points on 20 shots from Dylan Brooke. That's a huge win in my eyes. Jaren Jackson continues to be really solid, 22 and 3, 1 block, and he's getting into shape more and more. Brandon Clark started in place of Steven Adams, who was out. He had 14 and 14. Love to see that, that's great contribution. And the bench didn't screw anything, even though they were without Steven Adams and, well, their usual bench spark plug. Brandon Clark was not on the bench, right? And a great win for them against the Pistons, who have been pretty actually frisky. And Killian Hayes had 13 and 6, 5 of 13 after, that special performance against the Mavs last time they played. And yeah, Bojan Bogdanovic, my bad, we all know what he does. And Sadiq Bey off the bench was sensational. He had 24, 6, and 7. We'll see if, he'll actually get traded. And Corey Joseph, Kevin Knox, and Hamadou Diallo were also solid off the bench. But it didn't matter, right? Because everyone else in the starting lineup wasn't that solid. And the Grizzlies were just the better team, right? And we have another disappointing game from the Cavs. Even though they're 15 and 9, man. The game against Toronto and this game against the Knicks were both so disappointing from them. And as you can see, they shot 35% from the field and 23% from the 3-point line, which is just, unacceptable. And they couldn't hit the lick of anything. Donovan Mitchell was 2 of 11. Darius Garland was 3 of 9. Not great. Kevin Love was 2 of 7 off the bench. Donovan still a solid game. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He was solid, but nowhere near the best he can be. The same for Darius Garland. It was actually a really poor game from him. Evan Mobley had 11, 10, and 4 blocks. He was still solid, and man, is he special on defense. And even on offense, he's been really good. They're missing Jared Allen, of course, and they lost Dean Wade for 3 to 4 weeks, which is a little bad for him, because, he's been really good off the bench, and except for him, there were a lot of inconsistencies off the bench. But hopefully, Kevin Love, Caris LeVert, and Cedi Osman can finally do something. Or maybe, they could trade Caris LeVert. I don't think, I think they could. And for the Knicks, it was a much needed win against the guy that was supposed to be a Knick, right? Or not we all, but they thought he would be a Knick. And RJ Barrett at 15 and 8, he was solidish. Jalen Brunson, 23 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 of 16, not bad. Emmanuel Quickley, 12, 5, and 2 off the bench in 24 minutes, plus 13. Solid game from him. Isaiah Hartenstein finally did what we expected more of him from. He had 10 and 9. And a good overall game from them. And yeah, a rough thing is that it seems like Coach Thibodeau is getting back to his old ways. But yeah, they should fire him. I made a video about it. I keep saying it. But nonetheless, a great win. And here we are. Anthony Davis, 55 and 17 against the Wizards on the road, as the Lakers are looking much better. And with AD playing at this level, if they can actually, if he keeps this up and they could get some moves in, some tweaks in, they could be scary. With LeBron also playing much better after his return from injury, 29, 8, and 6. Just 5 turnovers, 12 of 26 from the field. Not so bad from him after all. Lonnie Walker had 20 points, 7 of 10 from the field. A really good game from him. And Taras was 6, 7, and 15 off the bench. 15 to 6 turnover ratio, not so bad. And if they can get some solid contributions off the bench and from the guard slot, because you need more from Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder normally. Today it didn't matter that much, but you're gonna need a little bit more. Schroeder played solid basketball. Pat Bev has been really struggling for the Lakers. He's been really bad. And if they can get somebody in one piece, they could be more than dangerous. But we'll have to wait and see what they'll do. They got those 2 first-round picks that we've all heard about by now, right? And we've all heard about that Indiana trade and everything. So we'll see if they do actually something, or they'll wait a month or so. I would say if AD and LeBron keeps this up, if they don't get hurt, then they might actually make some moves. And another rough loss for the Wizards, whose defense has just been atrocious. Shout out Daniel Gafford. He's been so good when he isn't in foul trouble, which he was in this game, but he was still sensational. 19-7. And he is such a great player off the bench. He's a great spark plug. And when he is seriously focused, he's so good. And we need to see that more often. Bradley Beal had to leave the game, which is a real shame because he's been pretty unlucky so far this year with missed time, not just due to injuries, due to some protocols, some health issues. And it's just so bad. You just want to see him more. Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis were solid, 26 and 27 respectively. But they couldn't hit the lick of the ocean from the 3-point line. They were 10 of 39, which is 26%. And, well, they couldn't stop AD, right? We all know. And he's been a monster, so you can blame them that much. But you would love to see some more effort defensively from them. Because they got some solid pieces on defense, it feels like. But their defensive scheme and their defense is just bad. We move on to Sacramento as the Kings light the beam again against the Bulls this time. Sacramento gets another great win. Malik Monk off the bench, 20 points, 5 assists. He was sensational in 24 minutes, and he could be he is a candidate for a 6th man of the year if he plays like this. Chimezi Metu had 10 on 5 of 5 in 11 minutes, which is great, and everyone played pretty solid. Kevin Huerter and De'Aaron Fox didn't shoot the ball efficiently, but they played solid basketball. Domantas Sabonis was sensational. He had 11, 17, and 10 on just 4 shot attempts, and he's been so good offensively with his passing, with his, post-up game, and I really have to give him more props because I was really down on him, especially after the Tyrese trade last year, and he deserves more props. Shout out to him. Harrison Barnes, 17 and 6. When he's playing good, they're just really great. They don't lose that much when he's playing this well. And Keegan Murray also wasn't too shabby himself. On the Bulls side, you can take one good thing away from it, and that is Zach LaVine finally having actually a good game. Not a great game. Great game from Zach LaVine. He had 41, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals in 36 minutes of play. 16 of 28 from the field, 57%, which is just the best game he's had this year, and he looked really well out there. The problem is the defense, and, well, they don't fit. They just don't fit. These players don't fit that well. I could argue, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine backcourt would be great. Then you need a defensive center, and DeMar is a great player, but I feel like it's just not a great fit defensively. You need, I don't know if Andrew Wiggins is the right comp, but somebody like that, right? Patrick Williams has not been what they needed him to be. I mean, today he was really good, but they just need something more from a for the overall pick, not 4th round pick. Jesus, are we in the NFL or what? And the bench, as I've been praising them all year, was really bad today. Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic were damn near unplayable today, and they didn't play that much then. I don't know about the Bulls. I'll make a video about the Bulls soon. And last but not least, we head to Portland as Dame returns and they beat Indiana. The Pacers without Tyrese Haliburton as he's injured. And they've been really bad on this road trip. Nonetheless, lost again. Pluses, Master and Buddy Hield were solid. Andrew Nembhard was solid offensively. Aaron Nesmith, 10 points also offensively. The bench was horrible. And Bennedict Mathurin has not been as efficient on this road trip as he has been all season. He didn't get to the line at all in this game, which is a travesty. There were some missed calls also, but, they relied on him so heavily and he's been so good. And when he isn't going, the bench is really rough. They were also without TJ McConnell even, so Rough loss, but they were missing Tyrese, and they've been really bad on this road trip, so I kinda expected it. We'll see if they can stabilize, but they got the Warriors on a back-to-back tonight, and it's not looking that well from them. On the Blazers side, Dame was back. He was plus 30 in his 32 minutes, 21, 4, and 6, and he was so good. You needed to see that from him after the team held it down pretty well. Not as well as you would like to, but pretty well. Anthony Simmons had 22 points. Jeremy Grant had 28 and 5. All-star Jeremy Grant, in my opinion. But there may be, I don't know, we'll see at the forward position, but he could be all-star, and he's one hell of a candidate. Josh Hart at 11 and 10, he was great. And off the bench didn't do that much, and they need more from the bench. But hey, they won nonetheless, and Dame is back, and he was great. What more do you need as a Portland fan, right? And as Portland. And that about does it for today. It was actually a cool slate. Somewhat disappointed in the Cavs. Not somewhat, a lot of disappointment in the Cavs. The Pelicans Nuggets game was just great, so that's great. And tonight on a fine Monday, what do we have? Hawks Thunder, can't wait for that. Celtics Raptors should be a good one. Grizzlies Heat should be a good one. Suns Mavs, that's gonna be a good one. You already know that. And Warriors Pacers. Without Tyrese, that might be a good one just because the Warriors are kind of weird this year. But I would expect a blowout. We'll see. I'll be here to cover it all though. Let me know your thoughts about today's games. Which games are you most excited about for tonight? And I'll catch you all tomorrow.